Sometimes you find the weirdest things in your trash. I'm just checking it out here. Some books like Survivalist, Nick Carter, a smutty book from Sharon Osborne, a TV tie-in book. It must be Garbaugust. Hello everyone, so welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you've not seen me before. You may have even found this because of looking up Garbaugust stuff, because this is a video all about Garbaugust. So this is my introduction to the event. That was Rosie. I don't know if you heard that. That was my cat. Anyway, so welcome to the video. We're going to talk about Garbaugust. I'm going to explain what it is, and it's a really great book event that was started last year, and it was a big hit. Loads and loads of people did it. I had my own event and sidelined my own event so I could do Garbaugust and just read stuff for that last year. This year, I'm honoured to be one of the co-hosts, so I'll definitely be spending the whole month reading trash. So the idea of Garbaugust is we're reading what Olly describes as trash. So there's a very specific definition. It's not like crap fiction. It's not bad books. It's books that have been published to make money. So books that have been published for cynical reasons. Doesn't always mean they're bad though, because sometimes an author can create something good out of it. But there are several different things that you can cover. It's quite a wide range actually. There's a bingo card that I will put in the description as well if I can. If I can put an image on there, I think I can. But I'll put the bingo card up on there. And if not, I can put it on the video. So I'll see if I can put it on the video. But anyway, there's a bingo card you can tick off through the month as well. But there are some themed weeks. So I'll just tell you what the themed weeks are, and it might give you a sense of what Garbaugust is. So the first week, we suggest that you read either category romance or men's adventure. So category romance is stuff like, in this country it'd be Mills and Boon books. In America, they're Harlequin books. Romance books that have been written en masse, you know. But I think Barbara Cartland, that kind of thing, probably fits that as well. And then the second week is either Paperbacks from Hell or Vintage Smut. So Paperbacks from Hell would be the classic sensationalist horror from the 70s and 80s, like killer animals and, you know, people being locked up by psychos or whatever. There's loads of classic things like that. And Paperbacks from Hell is a nickname that's been given to that period of horror by Grady Hendrix in a book that he wrote celebrating that kind of horror. So it comes from that. And in Vintage Smut is the stuff like Jackie Collins, that kind of thing. So you want to read something like Jilly Cooper, I don't know. I have got an example of that in my lot. And in the third week is Novelisations. So anything that ties to a film or TV series or game series, or books by famous people. So sometimes famous people can be great authors, and sometimes they just dabble in books and they're not great authors. They just dabble in it for a bit. Or sometimes they're ghostwritten, someone else writes them. But yeah, it's a fascinating kind of thing, really, looking at books written by famous people. So that's another thing that could be in the third week. And in the fourth week, it's just anything goes. And there's probably a fifth week in August as well. So it's anything goes. Whatever you've got left over that you've planned to read, or that kind of thing. So there we go. I'm going to find the names of the co-hosts because it's really funny. So we've all got pseudonyms, and this is what they did last year as well. So there's tons of hosts this year, absolutely tons of them. Here we go. So CriminOlly created the whole event, and his name for this is Creaming Olly. These are very rude. Creaming Olly. Steve Donohue is Steve Donohue. Michael K. Vaughan. You might know Michael K. Vaughan. He's Michael K. Pawn. Shelly Swearingen is Shall We Swing Again? I remember laughing about this next one last year, and I think it's still the same one. Yeah. It Came From The Page. So Andrew from It Came From The Page is now It Came All Over The Page. Crystal from Fiberartsy. Fiberartsy is Fibertarty. Another Bibliophile Reads is another Boobiephile Reads. Playboy for the articles. Another Boobiephile Reads Playboy for the articles. Roy reads anything. I'm really intrigued with what he reads for the month. But he's Roy reads anything. Wink, wink. Slime and Slashers is Slimy Splashes, which is rude if you got that kind of mind. Michelle's Melancholia is Michelle's Melons Collier. Blook Blather is Boob Lather. Reading This Life, MJ from Reading This Life is Sleazing This Life. Kelly Hooked on Books is Kelly Hooked on Dino Smut. Anne Novella is Anne Poobella. Another BookTube channel is Another Butt Plug Canal. The Bookish Knitter is The Bondage Knitter. Tangible Reads is Touchable Reads. Alex Unabridged is Owl Licks Under a Bridge. The Bookubus is The Boob Anus. Bookbound Weirdo is Bookbound Dildo. Books, Songs and Other Magic, which is me, is Boobs, Dongs and Other Magic. And Katrina Brown is Cabona Grown. And one last one, Super Blomper, another excellent channel, is Super Blower. So there we are. That's all of the co-hosts, tons of co-hosts, and it's going to be a great event. So have a think about whether you want to get involved and what you want to read for it. And, scour your second-hand shops to find cheap versions of these things, because it's just a bit of fun. And let's have a look at what we got. So I'm going to just go through some of the things I've got. I'm not going to read all of these. I'm going to read some of them. But it turns out I had some things bought last year that I didn't get around to reading. And this year I've had Garbaugust in my mind for the last few months. And I found a few bits. So let's just pick Men's Adventure first. So there's this is a sci-fi book that I bought last year for last year's event. Didn't get to read it, but it looks like ripping time. It's like a Time Scout thing, a Time Scout novel. And there's a series of novels when he's going around being very macho through different periods of time. I'm pretty sure that's that kind of covers the Garbaugust thing. Nick Carter is a classic Men's Adventure kind of version of trash because the author's anonymous, which is a great thing for the bingo. So Nick Carter's the character and there is no author, which is a real kind of like neon sign saying this is trash. And this one's called The Living Death. I read one last year and I read one in February as well for the mini Garbaugust. And they are quite funny books. They're like James Bond type things. And then I finally got 2 books of the Survivalist. So Olly really rates these books, so I'm hoping these are going to be a bit of fun. And there was 3 I could choose from, and I read the backs, and I chose these 2 deliberately. So they do sound like a lot of fun. I think one's rescuing someone's daughter, and I think the other one is just trying to deal with power politics. After the Armageddon, after the nuclear Armageddon. So, yeah, the Survivalist. And then there's 2 Ed McBain stories. So the 87th Precinct is like the setting for these books, and there's tons of them. And again, Olly really rates this author. So reiterating the idea that this is not about reading bad books. It's just books that have been produced en masse. There's loads and loads and loads in the series. So there's loads of these. I don't know how many's in the series, but the overall series is called the 87th Precinct Mysteries. And Ed McBain has got loads out there. And See Them Die is one of them here. And the other one is King's Ransom. I've actually got another one called Give the Boys a Hand. So I've got 3 actually now. I haven't read any yet though. So those are kind of men's adventure things. And I could throw these in the men's adventure as well, but it's kind of a spin-off of the comic and TV series. I've got 3 Flash Gordon books I could read for Garbaugust as well. The Lion Man of Mongo, The Witch Queen of Mongo, and The Space Circus. So these are interesting as well because they're essentially rip-offs of Edgar Rice Burroughs' Princess of Mars series, the Barsoom series, because when they initially did the comic strips of these, they wanted to do a comic strip of John Carter's Mars adventures, and they couldn't get the rights, so they invented Flash Gordon instead, which I think is really interesting. So, tie-ins. I've got loads of tie-ins. So just as an obvious point, I'm reading Trek books at the moment for Book Trek, and Book Trek will still be going on in August as well. And I found another one that I hadn't mentioned yet on my channel that I bought for last year, and I just found that when I was looking for these other things. So if anyone that's involved in Book Trek is watching this, there is this one other one that I could read, and I'll put that with the others. So I've got lots of Star Wars tie-in ones. So there's a big trilogy that I'm not going to read for the Garbaugust too much, but I could read some Tales from Jabba's Palace, and Planet of Twilight by Barbara Hamley, who also wrote that as well. She's clearly a tie-in person. Planet of Twilight, and Ambush at Corellia, this is the first of a series. So book one of the Corellian trilogy. So to be fair, when I do read that, I'd probably want to read it at a point where I might get the other two as well if I really enjoy it. But there we are. I remember when I got that, there was only one there. So it was either not get it at all or just get book one. And then I bought this for Garbaugust last year. Again, I didn't get to it. So this is a spin-off of Planet of the Apes. I love Planet of the Apes. And this is about Taylor, who was Charlton Heston's character in the film. And one of the things I mean to do soon-ish, and then before the end of the year anyway, is to rewatch all of the Planet of the Apes films and do a video about them, rate them, and all that. Do you guys remember the series Heroes? The first series was so brilliant. I've got a book based on Heroes, so that was a nice little find, and I bought it for Garbaugust. I wouldn't have bought this normally. And then I definitely wouldn't have bought this normally, but I just couldn't resist it. I thought, this is very Garbaugust. So this is a book based on Warhammer. So Warhammer, if you know, is a strategy game. It's a fantasy strategy game that Games Workshop created that is essentially like Risk, but with loads of figures. And this is an adventure book based around that. So I never would have read a Warhammer book before, but let's do it for Garbaugust. And then one last thing of this sort of section, I've actually got 3 sequels to Blade Runner. So before these were found in a charity shop, I didn't even know these existed, but K.W. Jeter wrote sequels to Blade Runner. So the original Blade Runner is obviously the book by Philip K. Dick called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? And I've got 2, 3, and 4 here. So I don't know whether I'm obviously going to read that one first, but I don't know whether I'll get to it for Garbaugust, but that's a possibility. And then I've got 3 books written by celebrities. I've got a few others actually, but these are probably just good examples of what you could do. And this first one, I would not read this sort of thing at all normally, but I'm doing it for Garbaugust, and it's like the smutty thing. And that's Sharon Osborne, Revenge. And it's like that glamorous, it says glamorous there. It's like the glamorous, sexy, romancy thing, power politics as well, I think probably. Sharon Osborne, I'm kind of curious. I've got Jackie Collins books in the house because my wife used to read Jackie Collins. I could read a Jackie Collins one. I'm kind of intrigued for the fact it's Sharon Osborne that makes me want to read this. So yeah, this is kind of my version of the Jackie Collins kind of prompt. This is a celebrity. I think she's a legit author, to be fair, but it could be an excuse. Sandy Toksvig is a very funny comedian and TV presenter over here. I really like her a lot. She presents QI. And for a while, she presented the Great British Bake Off. And she's written a book called Hitler's Canary. And I read the book back, and it just sounded really funny, and I'm sure it is. So that's a possibility. Hitler's Canary by Sandy Toksvig. And then this last one, which I actually bought for Book Trek, but it's not really a Star Trek book. It's just written by a Star Trek actress. So Roxanne Dawson played B'Elanna Torres in Star Trek Voyager, and she's written a trilogy, a science fiction trilogy. So this is the first book. Again, this might be that case where if I like it, I'll need to buy the other two. So, you know, big shout out to eBay, because clearly eBay makes that possible. Before things were online, when I was younger, if I wanted to find a book, I had to find it in the wild. I had to come across it. And now, if you want something, you just buy it on eBay. It's so much easier, isn't it? Just a thought. But anyway, there we go. That's a bunch of books, some of which I'll read for Garbaugust. And I'll make sure I cover the 4 prompts. And I'll see how I'll do with the bingo card. Thanks a lot for watching. And let me know if you're taking part and what you might read. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Paint me a picture of what it's like to be